My name is Reneau Peurifoy. In this video, I'll discuss how core beliefs shape your life, along with ways to identify and change those that are causing problems. This video is a companion presentation to the one titled Quieting Emotional Triggers. If you have not already viewed this video, a link to it is at the bottom of the screen. I will be referring to Kim and Raymond, two people from that video in this one. Knowing a little about their background will help you understand this discussion more fully. Your behavior and the emotions you experience are the result of many things taking place inside of you. While you are aware of some of them, there are others that operate at an unconscious level. A good example of this would be someone in the process of buying a car. This person might start by reading reviews of various cars to see what experts have to say about them and asking others who are seen as knowledgeable for their opinion. However, the final decision is also influenced by several other factors. Experiences this person had with cars in the past and beliefs this person has about him or herself and their place in the world would trigger unconscious associations with the various cars that are looked at. Sometimes the responses are subtle, like the influence of images and associations from advertising. Sometimes they are quite strong, as when a particular car triggers a memory that had special meaning while growing up. In addition, other beliefs and habitual ways of thinking, such as whether the car should be practical or a status symbol, will influence this person's final choice. This range of factors that generate our emotions and drives our behavior can be listed as follows. On the surface is our habitual self-talk. This refers to the silent conversations we have in our mind, along with the things we say to ourselves. Many of the things we think or say are simply short, memorized statements that we repeat in any similar situation. For example, when you make a mistake, you probably have something that you think or say that is the same whenever this happens. Sometimes it was modeled by the things the adults around you said, or the things they said directly to you. Sometimes you came up with it on your own as a response to your unique circumstances. For example, when Kim's boss sent her an email saying he wanted to meet her, her first thought was, "What did I do now?" This reflected her childhood experiences where she feared her parents' disapproval. When Raymond's fiancée suggested a new hairstyle, his first thought was, "There she goes, criticizing how I look again," something he had often heard his father say about his mother. The various types of self-talk that cause problems are dealt with in detail in another video, so I will not discuss them further in this one. However, these memorized responses that we repeat over and over play an important, yet often overlooked influence on how we react to events. The next level of influence, below your automatic self-talk, is the beliefs you hold about the different aspects of life. These range from surface beliefs that play only a minor role in your life, such as the toothpaste you like, to those that play a more important role in your decisions and actions, such as beliefs about yourself and your abilities. Below this level is what I call core beliefs. Core beliefs are actually a combination of conscious beliefs, automatic responses, and conditioned emotional responses. In a sense, they are the rules your mind uses to evaluate situations and choose actions. For some, their core beliefs are the same as their deeply held beliefs. For others, sometimes many of their core beliefs are in conflict with what they tell themselves and others they believe. When this is the case, their thoughts and behavior do not match what they say they believe. Another way of looking at core beliefs is to consider the old adage that says, "If it looks like a duck, talks like a duck, and walks like a duck, it's probably a duck." With core beliefs in mind, we can restate this adage as, if you act as if you believe something, speak as if you believe something, and think as if you believe something, you believe it. By giving short descriptive labels to the thoughts, behaviors, and emotional responses you have to a given situation, you create an effective tool for both becoming more aware of them and changing them. In Kim's case, her response to her supervisor could be characterized as reflecting the core belief, conflict is dangerous. This developed as a result of having been a child with a gentle and compliant spirit who was raised in a home with strict parents who became very angry whenever they were displeased with her. As a child, conflict seemed very dangerous to Kim. Now, as an adult, if you asked her if she believed that conflict with others was dangerous, she would say, "No, I just don't like it." However, the anxiety that even the possibility of disapproval from an authority like her supervisor triggered told a different story. In Raymond's case, a core belief that developed as a result of modeling after his father was, "I must always be strong." Again, if you asked him, he would say that he's okay with sometimes not understanding or being able to do something. However, while he would admit that he doesn't like to be criticized, his behavior said something different. The core beliefs that govern much of your behavior and your emotional life can be divided into 4 basic groups. These include beliefs about you, who you are as a person, your strengths and weaknesses; relationships, the rules you use to guide how you act in various relationships, as well as how you decide which relationships are safe and which are not safe. Next is the world around you. Is the world a safe place or a dangerous one? What can you expect in various situations? How should you act in various situations? Finally, there are your beliefs about spiritual or existential matters. These deal with your beliefs about your existence. What is your purpose in life? How does one find true happiness? Is there life after death? Or is this all there is? Does God exist? If so, who is He, and what is the nature of your relationship to Him? If not, how should I approach life? Here are several examples of common negative core beliefs concerning you. I'm unlovable. I can't do anything right. Emotions are dangerous. Keep them under control or something bad might happen. Examples of common negative core beliefs concerning relationships would be, intimacy is painful or dangerous, therefore don't get close. Conflict is dangerous. I'm responsible for how others feel. Examples of common negative core beliefs about the world would be, there is no safe place in the world. I can be violated at any moment. I have no power or control over events. Examples of negative existential core beliefs would be, life is meaningless. Only the strong survive. Never show weakness. Winning is everything. Losing is for losers. Most negative core beliefs like these develop during childhood and can be the result of many different types of situations, such as growing up with caregivers who are overly harsh, unloving, negative, abusive, or absent. However, this is not always the case. Children in good homes with loving parents can also develop negative core beliefs. Sometimes this is due to life circumstances, such as their parents divorcing, the presence of a disability, or difficulties at school. Emotional or physical trauma can also generate destructive core beliefs, such as being bullied or teased by other children, or living where there is social unrest or a totalitarian government. While we've been focusing on negative core beliefs, keep in mind that you also have positive core beliefs. Indeed, many of your strengths are rooted in positive core beliefs. Furthermore, each of the negative core beliefs I just listed has an opposite positive core belief. For example, a child growing up in a negative or unloving environment might develop the negative core belief, I'm unlovable, while children growing up in a positive environment would come to believe, I am lovable and worthy of love. The goal, then, is not to change everything, but to identify negative core beliefs that are interfering with your life and develop an opposite positive core belief to replace it. Let's look at a few of the negative core beliefs that Kim and Raymond held and see how this can be done. As already mentioned, one of the basic core beliefs that govern how Kim evaluated situations was, conflict is dangerous. In addition, her interactions with her parents also taught her to keep the peace, don't make others angry or upset with you. Anger is dangerous. and causes you to lose control. Therefore, you must suppress it. Don't assert yourself, or you might make others angry. In Raymond's case, we saw that one of his basic negative core beliefs was, I must always be strong. As he watched his father, he also learned that I need to be in control of situations. Challenge every criticism and put down. And never cry or show any emotion that might make you look weak. One of the approaches I developed in my practice to help people change negative core beliefs was to develop a summary sheet that had 4 sections. The first section is a short paragraph that states why this core belief or rule developed. Understanding why something developed does not, in itself, change deeply ingrained patterns. However, people can become sidetracked and waste a lot of time dwelling on, why am I acting this way? Having a short and concise statement that answers this question helps you refocus on the positive steps you need to take to change whenever you catch yourself doing this. The next section identifies situations where this negative core belief creates problems. This is a very important section because most of our behavior and thoughts are due to deeply ingrained habit patterns that we are usually unaware of. By identifying specific situations where negative core beliefs are triggering your thoughts and actions, it helps you become more aware of your thoughts and actions when you are in them. In a sense, it helps to take you off autopilot. The more clearly and precisely you identify where a particular negative core belief is influencing your behavior, thoughts, and emotions, the more effective you will be in noticing it and changing it. In the third section, you develop specific phrases you can think or say to yourself that are positive and truthful to counteract the lies you've been telling yourself. The final section, Behaviors I Can Practice, is an often overlooked step, but it is essential in breaking old patterns. The way to change a negative behavior is to practice an opposite positive one until it becomes automatic. Now let's take a look at the summary sheet that Kim developed for the negative core belief that conflict is dangerous. Why this is an issue. My father and mother would become very angry when they were unhappy with something I had done. As a child, I was terrified of their anger, and I'd always do whatever I could to keep them happy. As a result, I also learned that anger is dangerous, and now I tend to suppress any irritation or anger I feel. Situations where this creates problems. At work, this has caused me to become very anxious when my supervisor asks me to meet with him or sends an email to me. I also tend to only express opinions that I think others will agree with. It's difficult to ask for what I really want when I'm with friends or family. In the past, I've agreed to do things I really don't want to do and become overcommitted and exhausted. Ideas I can use to help change how I think. Conflict is a natural part of life. It is natural for people to disagree about things. Working out a solution is healthy. I am an adult. I am no longer a child living with angry parents. I live in the adult world and have the right and ability to speak up and set limits. Most of the people I know are more than willing to talk about disagreements and resolve them in a friendly way. Most of the people I meet are very different from my parents. They will not yell at or abuse me. Anger is a normal and often appropriate emotion. I can be angry and express it in an appropriate way. It gives me energy and motivation to set limits. I do not need to make everyone happy. People are responsible for their own feelings and behaviors. Most will respond to me in a reasonable and appropriate manner. It's healthy to set limits with those who don't. Behaviors I can practice. When appropriate, express at least one opinion or suggestion to my supervisor. When with my friends, express one thought or opinion where I disagree with them. When someone does something I don't like, speak up. It's okay to say, that upsets me, or I don't like that. When someone asks me to do something, say, let me check my calendar and get back to you. Take time to decide if this is something I want to do and if it is something that would be good for me to do. If the answer to either of these is no, don't do it. When I go out to eat, try something that looks good, that is different from my usual safe choices. Here is a summary sheet that Raymond developed for the core belief, I must always be strong and never show weaknesses. Why this is an issue. Physically, my father was very strong. He rarely got sick and had a high level of energy. He prided himself in his ability to never show any sign of weakness. Unfortunately, this also meant he almost never showed any sign of tenderness or empathy, as these were viewed as being signs of weakness. He would become very angry when Mom criticized him or said anything he thought was demeaning. Because I wanted my father's love, I learned to be like him. Situations where this creates problems. This causes me to become angry and act inappropriately with my fiancée whenever she makes a suggestion or disagrees with me. Anytime I become aware of a personal flaw, such as how I speak or some skill that I think I lack, I become anxious and often find something to become angry at. Whenever I make a mistake, I become angry and find someone or something to blame for my problems. Whenever something touches me deeply, such as a sad scene in a movie, I immediately need to hide my soft feelings by making a joke or changing the subject. Ideas I can use to help change how I think. While there are times when it is good to be strong, there are also times when it's okay to show weakness. I am not Superman. It's normal to hurt and have symptoms when real-life events that are sad or disappointing occur. It's also normal and healthy to express sadness, pain, and fear. My father's need to always be strong poisoned all of his relationships. One of the ways he kept from showing emotions that he considered weak was to become angry and lash out whenever he was sad, hurt, or disappointed. It also caused him to pull away from people and fail to support those he loved when they needed him the most. There is nothing weak or demeaning about expressing doubts or needs. Behaviors I can practice. When someone I love hurts, I can comfort them while avoiding my old habit of trying to make them strong. I can do this by just listening. When my fiancé makes a suggestion concerning me, I will just listen and not take it as an attack, but simply as an idea. I can share my doubts and weaknesses with my fiancé and others who I feel are safe, healthy, and loving. When I make a mistake, I can admit it instead of trying to hide it or cover it up. If I'm genuinely not feeling well or am sad, I can say so rather than acting strong. The best way to use a summary sheet is to read it once a day for a week, so the ideas, situations, and behaviors are in the back of your mind. You will then tend to notice when the problem situations you've described occur. Use the thoughts you've developed to calm yourself and practice your new behaviors. After about a week, give yourself a break and then practice again after a few weeks. After several cycles, you'll be surprised at the progress you've made. If you would like to explore this approach more deeply than is done in this short presentation, I would recommend either of the following books: Anger, Taming the Beast, or Overcoming Anxiety. If you would like to read about core beliefs in a book that discusses them from a Christian perspective, I'd recommend Why Did God Give Us Emotions? The link at the end of the presentation takes you to short trailers that describe each of them. Thank you for viewing my presentation. I hope it has helped you understand core beliefs. More importantly, my hope is that it has given you a way to identify any negative core beliefs you might have and replace them with more positive ones.